All right, the maintenance is over. Editing's
Editing is done, and good job, Mus.
Yeah,
good job, future Mus.
Good job. Monday Mus.
Monday, Monday. But we're just gonna start by saying there's not much exciting to talk about. Not a lot of action.
Okay, so I don't know how to do a little 5-minute non-spoiler thing.
Or we're gonna do a non-spoiler beginning.
Yeah, like a little 5-minute, 3-minute non-spoiler. I'm gonna set like a little timer.
I don't think a timer is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna do it so I know how long we've been doing it for.
All right, non-spoiler. Episode was decent.
In my opinion, the episode was worse than episode 2.
I don't.
I do. It's like what happens basically the whole episode is basically just a love story. A good played out love story.
Yeah, good played out love story.
I think me personally, it would have been the way they showed the love story. It would have been if it was a love story like a not Last of Us, and if this was like another show or movie, I would think this was a great movie / show. If it wasn't a part of Last of Us,
so you're just upset that.
Not even like the game. It's just like
in the middle of The Last of Us.
Yeah, if it wasn't The Last of Us and it was just some random other show, I think it was a good, well-executed love story.
I agree with the fact that there was too much emphasis and focus on the love story rather than what the show's actual premise is.
Yeah, the part where they showed the history in the beginning of how
it was an entire episode dedicated toward the love story that had nothing to do with Joel and Ellie.
Literally, and they show, I don't know if this is spoilers, but they just show another day one outbreak of Bill from the game. If y'all know who Bill is from Last of Us, then you know who we're talking about. If you haven't seen if you haven't played the game, then I guess enjoy that.
I guess that is something that is upsetting. It is too much of an episode that's focused way too much on not Joel and Ellie, which are the main characters.
That's not even. It's just on the accuracy on how it's not. It's
I'm not too upset about the accuracy.
I am.
I do like the game's version more.
A lot more,
but they did a good job.
It's not even like the way they did it. I'm not mad that happened. It's just what happens at the end at the dinner table. Like, yeah, it's hard to do a non-spoiler review when the only thing.
I feel like what you said when you went to the bathroom midway through. I feel like what you said would have been really cool.
I don't remember what I said.
Well, I can't really say it because we're in the non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler.
Yeah, we're in the non-spoiler.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about non-spoiler,
But I mean, we pretty much covered how we feel about the entire episode, non-spoiler wise, and what the episode is about. It's a love story about two people that are from the game, and the whole episode primarily focuses on them.
Yeah, for the first couple minutes or the first 5 minutes, it is Joel and Ellie, and then after that, it goes to like a whole 45, 50.
And the Joel and Ellie part wasn't anything significant.
Oh yeah, they just went to a gas station, and stuff happened. Nothing even happened.
Nothing eventful. It was actually completely
irrelevant.
Yeah,
they could have started the episode with the love story.
Yeah, that was not necessary. They kind of just made us tag along. Ellie interacted with the zombie a little bit, but
yeah, just and
then but
I think that's gonna conclude our little non-spoiler.
Yeah, that's our little non-spoiler. When you're not spoiler, you can't really get in depth.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully get better at this non-spoiler stuff. It's just hard to talk about something with no spoilers.
Yeah, it's hard to we're trying to bounce around spoilers, and it's hard to be able to describe.
Yeah. So that's the end of our non-spoiler. That lasted. I had it timed. That was about 3 minutes exactly.
That's a good. We'll try to get to 5.
We'll try to get to 5 next time. It's hard to talk about non-spoilers.
But spoilers. So let's begin from the beginning of the episode.
They walk and they go into a gas station.
Ellie goes. For some reason, Ellie doesn't tell Joel that she's going. I guess she's.
And they haven't built that trust, or she doesn't really give a fuck yet.
Yeah, I understand it. She knows that if she tells him, then he's gonna be like, "No, you can't go down there. No, you can't do that."
Yeah.
So she's like, "Yeah."
Good thing she went down there though. She found some pads or tampons or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was pads.
Probably.
Does she even? Is she even? We're not even gonna talk about that.
But yeah, she does. She's 14 in the first game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she does.
But freaking yeah, that whole interacting with the zombie thing was kind of weird.
She cut it. Saw white shit under it.
There was mushrooms under its skin. That was pretty cool.
It looked like fungus.
I actually kind of like this thing because we got to see a close up of a zombie. It looked cool.
So, it was useless, but it was unnecessary. But it was still interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he left the gun under the bunker or like a slab in the floor.
Yeah, that was weird to me. He said it was useless because ammo is really scarce.
Yeah, he says we're not gonna find this ammo anywhere, so just lose the weight.
Yeah, it made sense. I wasn't mad at it.
I'm not mad at that. No, nothing.
But then Ellie was like, I can hold it. No. He really doesn't want her to have a gun.
Okay.
That's how it was in the game, though. He really just didn't feel like she was responsible enough to carry a weapon. And she is very childish.
Yeah, she's stupid, as we saw, not communicating, jumping into a bunker.
Yeah. She's still frivolous and, she's youngin', so it's okay. But then, after that, they kind of just leave the gas station, and the rest of the episode is basically, until the end, is basically Bill and Frank. And I kind of have a lot to say about that, because...
Bro, what the fuck happened to this wire? Like, alright, so what it does is...
You were focusing on that?
Yeah. So what it does is, after that part, it cuts to, like, another prequel.
I really like that
it
part.
Went to a
I was happy
It went
as hell
to
about that part.
a doomsdayer under his basement looking at a bunch of SWAT team people escort people out of his neighborhood.
It was a doomsday prep person, someone who prepares for the doomsday, and he had it locked and loaded. He had everything he needed down there in his little basement, and the people that were like the military that was scanning out the room, making sure they're evacuating everybody, didn't know he was there because he's built like that. He had it locked down. So they leave, and then the entire city is empty.
Oh shit!
Populationless. Bro, what the? And then basically it's populationless, and it focuses on Bill kind of just
surviving,
being the first one to absolutely raid all the resources.
Yeah, he went and turned on the gas again so he could have a gas stove. He turned on the water again.
He shot his own little generator.
He went to Home Depot sponsorship.
He opened the water.
Like, bro,
he was preparing, bro.
He was prepared.
And when it's for one person, it's basically a lifetime worth of supplies.
Yeah, literally. Even
so he got a whole city's like water tower worth of water
and gas
and a hella gasoline. He got like 8-9 barrels
and the gasoline, probably infinite, supporting his fucking stoves,
his generator, his car. But his car didn't have a battery. Well, that wasn't until later.
Yeah, he made a battery.
But it was really just focusing on. It was kind of cool. You finally get to see. Well, what happens when a doomsday happened and the doomsday prepper is prepared? And it kind of like highlighted that, and I really liked it. It was
yeah,
cool.
I fucked with it.
And his preparing paid off.
Yeah, his preparing paid off.
And it was just satisfying to see.
And this isn't just any Doomsdayer. We're saying Doomsday. This is Bill from Last of Us 1, the dude that Joel teams up with and does stuff. We're going to get to that when we get to more. So after he does all this, he sets up his traps, pipes. He went to Home Depot and went dummy.
Bro finessed everything in Home Depot.
And then someone gets stuck into one of his hidden traps that he fell in. And that hidden person is Frank.
Which is his boyfriend in the game.
Which is also the same person who hung himself
in the game. Right. So.
Which Bill cuts down, buries him.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad in the game because it's like, damn, he left Bill without really telling him. It was kind of like a secret. Bill had to find out the hard way. And, like, it was kind of like a moment of sucking it up like a man. Pause. Just like eating the pain and just be like, damn, there's nothing I could do about it. I'm going to just keep living on my life the way I've been doing it and just have acceptance with the situation. And you could tell in the game he was extremely hurt, but
yeah, he
kind of felt betrayed.
Yeah.
Like, you would kill yourself when I'm here. Am I not a source of happiness for you? And it just felt more grim in the game. It was like, damn, bro had to find out that his love was killed themselves and that him as a person wasn't worth staying alive for. And it kind of just made the whole situation. It was like, damn, Bill. That's tough.
It was a lot better in the fucking game.
Yeah, in this game.
This show's trash.
I'm
so mad at this right now.
Right now, this episode was a little too softcore. Like I said in the past one too, too much softcore.
The game is softcore by the
game is
story.
Brutal and grim, and it's like shit happens and life fucking sucks, especially times 10 in Apocalypse. I'm not getting that from this this thing.
Yeah, so let's just go back on track. So he finds Frank. Frank, he's like, I'm hungry as shit. Let me eat and then I'll dip. That happens, and then
Makes him a busting ass meal.
and then after that he starts playing piano. And then
Right,
he's like,
and then they both
all right, bet
bond
I'll
over
leave
that.
after you play your piano.
They both bond over that, and then they
And it
start
gets
making out or whatever.
And okay, they're making out and they're gay. We all know this. Boom, they get in bed naked, and I'm not really caring.
That
about
wasn't
that.
bad until like it stayed on it. I was like, all right,
It stayed
bro.
on it. He got on top of him. I'm like, all right, you doing too much. You
It's
doing
like,
too much.
I don't need to see this anymore, please.
Yeah, I understood the kissing I was fine with, but then they started doing a little too much. I was not messing with that.
Yeah, they were focusing a
They're
little
trying
too
too
much.
hard. They're just trying too hard.
And it's like, isn't this show about zombies?
Yeah. Like, I know why they did it because, like,
I feel like that whole love story could have been half the episode.
yes, and the other half about Ellie and Joel.
Right. They put way too much energy into that love story.
So then after that, 3-year time lapse, like 3 years later, and then he wants to paint the house, and then he talks about, oh, I've been talking to a lovely lady on the radio. Skips to when the people arrive, and
that
the people,
lady was Tess
and
Joel, which is how Joel kind of gets connected
yes,
with.
this is like 5 years into 4 years into the outbreak.
I think it's 6 because it was 3, then another 3.
No, I swear it was just 1, and then you had it was just. Yeah, I think it's literally 3 years into the day.
I think it was 3 years before he found Frank, and then 3 years when they started linking with Joel.
Yeah, so then they talk to Joel. Joel's like, oh, we could become traders, and we could help you. That fence is about to break in a year. Let me get you this stuff, and we could trade and become something.
Right, so they kind of like work together basically from that point forward.
And then he warns them there's going to be raiders, and your walls are not going to survive.
Yeah, it's just, it's
Bill's
not really if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen.
Yeah, and Bill's like, I'm him. Go on.
Yeah,
He
right.
said, I got this shit. You don't know what I got.
They did Bill right. Bill was cool.
They
I
did Bill
fucked
like
with
they
Bill.
did Bill in the game. You just walk into Bill's town and you see
Bill
bombs
was cool as
exploding. They did it good with the traps.
I will say I liked Bill's town when it was an actual town, though. I didn't really like the neighborhood.
I don't think it was. I think it was a neighborhood. It was a neighborhood. Bill's town. It was Bill's town. It was Bill's neighborhood. Because remember, when you get the car in the game, you're pushing it from Bill's house, and Bill has a basement in the game. But when you're with Bill, you go to the school, and when you're going to school, you go into a town. In that town, he's also explored and built traps everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
So it was originally in a neighborhood.
Yeah, that was when you sat on the mission to go get the car battery.
The car battery or the school
Yeah.
battery.
So then after, where did we leave off?
After Joel and Tess leave, doesn't it do another like 10-year time?
It does a 10-year. It goes back to the present.
Yeah, 10. No,
No,
yeah.
does it? No,
yeah,
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. Because then after the 10-year, oh no, it does. It does a 10-year time lapse. No, it doesn't do a 10-year time lapse.
I think it stays.
It stays.
It stays in the 6 years. In the 6 years.
I think it did time lapse because you got
just
old.
Ellie and Joel kind of dip.
Yeah,
And then they have
no,
the scene
Tess
with the
and Joel did.
strawberries.
Then they do this. Oh yeah, he comes with the strawberries. They're jogging. They talk. Blah blah blah. Just more romantic stuff.
Yeah, more romantic stuff.
They go to sleep, and it gets wicked. First
Oh, yeah.
human interaction.
First human interaction
and
was
I'm
like
disappointed.
I was disappointed too. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, oh, human interact. All right, so
it was the first band of hunters
Yeah.
we've seen in the entire show. First time it was kind of some outsiders trying to invade somebody or trying to attack somebody, and it wasn't like an actual village or community of humans. It was just like
it was just
a band of
raiders.
survivors who are out here to murder so that they can get some supplies.
Yeah, so that happens in like Frank, which is the one who wakes up with gunshots. He's like, yo, what the hell? And Bill's already.
Bill's ready. Bill knew. Bill heard the first thing. He said, "I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this shit." Gunshots are coming from Bill. Bill's the one shooting in there.
Bill's the one shooting. But the thing
And then all his traps are fucking him up. They just were not.
that's what I was disappointed in. And no gore. So like, okay, they first come. Dude gets
We didn't
lit.
need gore really necessarily.
There actually wasn't blood. Other than Bill getting shot, there wasn't blood. Okay, boom. Some dude gets lit on fire. I'm like, damn. Some dude gets hit by the electric fence after being turned on fire. That's it. You
Yeah,
only
that's
see
really
2
all.
people
But
die.
we did only see 4 hunters.
We
It
saw
wasn't like
4
7 or 8 of them. It was 4 people.
We saw 4 people, but then he was blasting that rifle like it was more than 4. There was a lot. I think it was more than 4.
They're kind of like hiding.
Humans. They just don't want to do it, and it's annoying.
I don't know why. Yeah, the humans were dealt with a little too easily from traps.
Yeah, it was a lot of traps though.
Yeah, it
You
was a
got,
lot of
the
flamethrowers were going
entire
off.
perimeter of the thing was built with flamethrowers.
Right.
All the fences were electrocuted at the
So I mean,
time.
it's understandable. It's just kind of they went over it so quick, and then Bill got shot,
And then after
and then
that, Bill gets
the problem just ceased.
Oh yeah, I can't remember when the time skip happens, but Bill gets inside, he's patching Bill up, and then he's like, Frank is like, oh, the traps will deal with the rest. Boom, Bill. I think it does do another. Oh yeah, it does do. Bill blacks out, and then he wakes up, and it's 10 years later, and Frank
That's when it's 10
and then
years
it like switches it up and like.
You-
Oh wait,
you were
you
gonna
see
think-
someone in a wheelchair, and you're like, "Is that Bill in the
Is
wheelchair?"
Bill
Dang,
crippled
he got
from the gunshot?
paralyzed? And then
It was
boom,
actually
it's
Frank. Right.
Cancer.
Frank had cancer. So that's where they kind of switched it up from the show and the game. Because I thought they were going to do a big time skip, and then the relationship between Frank and Bill was going to be like worsened. Like they were going to kind of be annoyed and agitated with each other for living with each other for so long. But it was just like so peaceful, and everything just worked out, and they're so happy together, and they had no issues, which is, I mean, I guess is fine, but I feel like the game kind of gave a more realistic-esque to that. So, it's always never that simple. And in the game, Frank kills himself without having a reason to do so, other than, depression and not wanting to live in the world and constantly trying to survive and stuff. In the show, he has cancer.
Can't walk.
Can't walk. He's
can't paint and do what
crippled.
he loves. He's
Can't
getting
really,
old.
yeah, he can't really enjoy life anymore. And then him having a reason to want to die is more justifiable and less grim. And the reason why Last of Us, the game, was so successful is because of how grim and dark and real the world felt. And I'm over here getting a freaking Disney love story.
Literally.
And it's like, it just feels so ingenuine, especially in an apocalypse. And I feel like they live too happily ever after in that little caged up world. Like, you're telling me they only got hit by a band of hunters once ever?
And no zombies came?
And no zombies came? Okay,
Like,
the zombies get handled by the traps, I guess.
No, it's been, okay, boom. You telling, I understand they're like,
It's been
it's not other zombies,
16
but like,
years.
zombies go towards noise. If not clickers, so do the other things. So you're telling me they didn't hear
The
the
gunshots
fires,
and
the
then
gunshot,
pull up,
the-
and then it
I
got
guess
worse
there
because of
was
zombies.
rain, but like still they're hearing in the distance. Noise goes for like at least a mile or two.
It's just Bill and Frank didn't have enough problems inside their little hut. And I get it. It was trapped up, but
And I feel like
bad things happen when you don't expect them to, even though you're extremely prepared for them. And it just felt unrealistic, bro.
the whole reason of this love story, not them not trying to be more dark. I feel like the whole point of this episode is to get rid of an arc that would have made maybe an episode or two. Like that's what I'm gonna start ranting soon about.
They
like,
could have definitely done the whole Bill part.
like
Bro, imagine if they had Joel get caught up by a trap in his foot, and he's upside
I
down.
forgot about that.
Shooting motherfuckers
We completely
while Bill's trying to get him down.
No, Ellie's trying to get him down. Bill wasn't even there. Wait, what happened?
That's when
Wait.
Bill pulls up. Is
No,
it not?
not yet, because Ellie, I remember Bill pulling up with the machete fucking shit up. But remember the fridge lifted him up, and Ellie's trying to cut the string that's tied to
And then the
fridge.
noise that made caused a bunch of zombies to come. That shit was so...
The noise of a fridge hitting the floor caused zombies to come, and not gunshots and flamethrowers, like, and people yelling. That's what I'm saying. There's no zombies.
Yeah, there was no zombie. Like I said, it was way too fairy tale, happy ending bullshit for Frank and Bill, and their little house was too safe.
Yeah, and back on that last episode part, like Bill came in. I'm pretty sure he saved the day. He cut the string because Ellie was just struggling, and it's like, oh shit, Bill helps him up, and they start fucking shit out, running through Bill's town trying to get back to his house.
And they're dipping from a large horde of zombies.
Literally, and then there's a split in the game to where you're walking, and there's like a road, and it's a bunch of cars, and a trap gets
So
set
much
off.
lost potential for action.
I feel like they just because that's
And they just spent an entire episode on a love story about
just to skip that.
to skip
to move
action.
past it. because
why would you skip action? I'm watching a zombie show. Zombies. I want zombies.
yeah. So
You're giving me a love story without zombies.
So before I go on that big rant, I'm about to go on because I'm mad about that. I'm very mad. That's why the episode is trash to me. So after that happened,
I was enjoying the episode kind of objectively.
I was enjoying
but
the
now
episode.
that I'm comparing it hand in hand with the parts of the game that they decided to not have,
I'm about to say more,
now.
and you're probably thinking about it already because you think you're comparing it now, and I'm gonna say it out loud when we get there. But let's go back to the show. So after that,
and they removed so much potential from Frank being so menacing.
Wait, what do you
not
mean
Frank? I meant
Bill.
Bill
So,
being like.
And that's another thing.
A professional at surviving.
They made him really old in the show because I'm gonna say it now. They end up killing him, which is fucking retarded. But they made him old in the show.
That was
to
dumb.
die. But in the game, he maybe has a little white frizzles at the beginning of his beard. He's young in the game. He's probably mid-40s, 30s probably.
You think he's younger than Joel?
Joel was.
He didn't look older than Joel. He's just unhealthier.
But no,
Just
he
a little
did
fatter,
because he had
chubbier.
a lot more hair color than Joel in the game. He had white hair, but it was
He's probably like
frizzles.
close to. He's probably a little bit older, like probably 8 or
Joel's
6 years.
50,
So he's probably like 58, coming on 60.
Yes, I don't know.
In the show, he looked like he was hitting 70.
Shit, probably 90. Goddamn.
Not 90.
Yeah,
he
I
wasn't
know.
hitting 90.
But so after that happens, like he was saying, he's like, I don't want to live anymore. So he's like, let's have a wedding. Let's live my last day the way I want to live it, which he does. I don't care about going into detail about that. He lives his last day on Earth the exact way he
Yeah,
wants.
Frank kind of gets his last little wish, like, you know what?
Kill me with this medicine at the end of the day after we get married and pour it in my wine.
Right, bunch of medicine that'll just have him dead in his sleep.
And so I'm like, damn, so Frank's gonna die, right? So he pours the stuff in Frank's
So I wasn't mad there. I was like, all right, they're taking a different twist on Frank's death.
and I didn't
They're
mind
making it a happier death, a happier ending for Frank, and a happier ending for Bill. Because the ending for Bill in the game is way more grim.
Bill never had an ending in the game.
I'm talking about Frank's ending for Bill.
Yeah.
This is way nicer.
Yeah, so what happens is he's like, pour it in my cup, this powder to make him off himself. So he drinks
It's just an overdose on medicine, basically.
Yeah, so he drinks it and he gulps it down. And then Bill takes his cup and instead of sipping on it like wine, he gulps it down. And he's like, there's already pills in the bottle. And he's like, yeah, blah, 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 romantic.
Basically, he's killing him with
He's
him.
accepting it. And he's like, and Frank is like, I would be mad, but this is hella romantic. And he's like,
Which is true. I was kind of like,
said,
yo, that's kind of deep. That was a cool moment.
Yeah, and one thing he said in the previous episode, he said he wasn't scared until Frank came because that's someone he cared for. So now that Frank's dying, he's like, I have nothing to live for anymore.
Right.
So I'm going to kill myself because I'm going to go back to being lonely.
And it was kind of like that in the game, but he didn't get that option of knowing that Frank was trying to kill himself. He kind of Frank went out on a mission and never came back. And then he goes out with Joel
finds
him hanging. And he's been hanging there for a minute. His skulls and bones already. He's got flesh coming off his bone. And it's like, damn, that's how he had to find out. He had to find out Frank killed himself and that he didn't find him. And Frank in the game didn't have cancer. He didn't have like
he just killed him. He
didn't
just
have like
himself,
I can't really live.
World.
I'm crippled. I'm not really helping myself. I have a reason to kill myself. Nah, he's like, fuck this world. I don't want to be alive anymore. All this surviving shit is lame. All this constantly working. Bill isn't making me happy. Kills himself. And it's like, damn, Bill kind of has like a deeper, damn, you really did it.
That's what Blue is like. When he did that, I was like, oh, maybe Bill just said that to make Frank's death easier on Frank.
That's what I would have.
That's what I thought.
That would have
like,
been much better.
He was like, oh, he's trying to make Frank not feel too bad about.
So he would have had like lied.
He would have went to sleep knowing he would have seen his husband in heaven or wherever they go.
Right, thinking that they would have been dying together.
To make it easier for Frank to pass on. But no, Bill
actually killed himself with Frank. And I was
that
like,
shit blew.
Yeah, because
that's when I thought of that. I'm like, okay, they killed him. That's going to change a lot of stuff in the show that they could have done with potential, which I'm about to talk about. But then I'm like, what's that set up for the future games of Last of Us? Because it's been confirmed. Last of Us 3 is confirmed. And Last of Us 2, I thought it would see him. But, like, in the game, he has no official death. So when they make part 3, are they going to say, because of the show, he died?
They're not going to do that. They're separate.
It'd be weird because they're definitely going to make a show off of any game that comes out for this thing. So say Last of Us 3 or Bill shows up in any DLC or anything like that, right? how are they gonna do Bill again in the show when they offed him in the game?
I mean, that
in the
doesn't
show.
really matter because I don't think Bill's ever coming back to the game.
I think he will because they
Bill
mentioned him in
never
Last
came
of Us
back.
too.
Bill, yeah, but he never like appeared. And after he goes away in the first game, you
Just
never
goes
see
back
him
home.
again.
Probably just goes back home.
You
and
never
does what
see
he
him
does.
again after his little arc. But
It's just, I don't
they
know.
just throw away so much good content
so what
for a
they-
love story
the
that I
stuff-
didn't really.
Oh, what gave me hope is the classic car that they went to a school for, which we're gonna get to. Is he opens the lid and there's not a battery. I'm like, oh, they might have saved it, but just without Bill this time. Make it a little different.
No, he just
He opens
opened
the fridge and
there's
sees stuff to
all types
build.
of ingredients.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn.
They got me like they got the car in the first episode. They showed me like the car about to crash him. It didn't. They showed no battery. Like, oh, they want to go to the school. They didn't.
So it's kind of basically you're telling me instead of making the episode focusing on the main characters, Joel and Ellie, going to get a battery with Bill, and Bill finding his dead boyfriend on the journey to get a battery for the car because Bill owes Joel a favor. Instead of that,
It's just a love
the
story.
entire episode is dedicated towards a love story which has no interactions with zombies, very minute interactions with humans.
Even if it did, it was completely irrelevant. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, nah, the rant I'm gonna go on now is, bro, one thing that was cool and the only, like, a big part in the game that, number one, they skipped out on the first fire-ass bloater interaction.
Right. You go to the basketball court.
You're
and
going to the school.
You see this extremely super version of a
And they're like,
clicker.
yo, what the fuck is that? And Bill's like, oh, that's a bloater. That when they stay a while, they turn into that. That was Joel's first time seeing that. And Bill's like, oh, that
They
happens.
definitely should have, bro.
So what they missed out on is
They missed out on the first interaction with the bloater. They missed out
the
on
school in general.
They missed out, and probably, debatably, the coolest part of the video game Last of Us 1 is when you're hanging upside down and you're seeing a horde of zombies climb over a fence.
And you have to protect Ellie
and you have to
and
protect
yourself
Ellie while she's cutting you down.
against
They
clickers.
missed all of that. And we missed Bill being an extremely menacing, machete-carrying, gas mask-wearing, double-barrel shotgun on his back, survivalist, professional
Literally.
survivor.
So
Who's in control of his own city because it's called Bill's Town because there's fucking traps everywhere set by Bill.
and that's another thing we didn't get from this is the amount of traps. Like, as you're going to Bill's town, you're coming across a freak ton of traps. And Ellie's like, yo, what is this guy? And Joel's like, he's kind of a survivalist type guy.
Bill is just so much cooler in the
Way
game.
cooler in the game.
And they had the potential to do it. If they could have kept the same love story, cut it in half, made half the episode about the love story, and then even with what's it called, Frank not killing himself, that would have been fine if that was Frank's ending, and Bill would have pretended to take the same pills to die with him, but he would have just woken up and basically
Dead body buried him.
Yeah. It would have still been a wholesome moment. He lied to keep his friend kind of more content with death, and then it would have been, all right, now we're back on Joel and Ellie, and then we're going to see them collide because Joel's freaking upside down on the goddamn trap that Bill set up, and he hears it with his own.
So
It just has so much.
happens.
They could have done the love story and still made it right, but they made the entire hour episode about straight Bill and Frank being in love, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't
care.
I'm here for a zombie show, not a love story.
So what happens in the game?
And if this was its own zombie show, completely separate from Last of Us, fine.
I
Would have
would not
been a
mind
great
it.
episode. I would have loved the episode.
the only thing that was keeping me watching
But they're calling it Last of Us. Stop calling it Last of Us if it's not about what Last of Us is about. But it was a good wholesome episode. But when you're saying it's Last of Us and then you're doing that, it's just it's aggravating. I don't know.
So what happens in the game that they didn't? Yeah, another thing. So, oh yeah, you're walking with what's his name, Bill, and you're seeing piles of burning zombies. Like he puts in the work and he's surviving, and you're going through clickers and stuff. But the big thing is like, oh, you owe oh yeah, when you first get into his bunker, what's his name? Bill ties up Ellie to a thing, and they what's it called? He's like, "Oh, you owe Joel a favor," and he's like, "I owe Joel what?" And it like,
It was good character development.
yeah,
It was good seeing Ellie kind of talk shit like carelessly to Bill.
yeah, and it's like Joel's like, "I need a car," and he's like, "You think if there was a car, I wouldn't have one already?" And it was like, it was so cool. But the school part is like everything that happens is they skipped it. But the school part, like when you're sneaking up to the school, a school makes sense for there to be hundreds of zombies,
Which there was.
which there was in the game, and you have to sneak through people to get to a battery, and you're like, damn, the school bus doesn't have the battery. You go inside, there's clickers, and shit goes upside down. It gets loud. They all bum rushing you, and you crawl through a tiny window that gets you inside of a like. And it would have made sense. They go through the school and they're killing zombies in the game, and then they get caught and they're all running from hundreds of zombies. And then they go into the basketball court, and then boom, boom, a bloater shows up, and it was a good part for a bloater.
So what I'm thinking right now is so far throughout the entire show, it's not giving me zombie apocalypse vibes. It's giving me apocalypse vibes, but I'm not really feeling the zombies. I'm not really feeling the grimness of an apocalypse. It's too colorful and not enough darkness in the world right now. And there's just no zombies. Have you noticed? The only time we've seen most zombies is when Tess was like had to kill herself or whatever.
Yeah.
And like even then, like they didn't even interact with those because Tess sacrificed herself or whatever. But like we're not seeing Joel and Ellie interact with any zombies on the road or through their journey to get to places. There's no zombies. There's no hunters. There's nothing. They're just getting from destination to destination without an issue. And when they get to those destinations, there's no zombies and there's no hunters and there's no people to deal with. There's no problems. They're going through everything way too easily. And same with the whole Billtown thing. You telling me they lived there for what? How many years did it skip?
About like they lived there pretty
20,
much
right?
20
It went through
years,
the whole
yeah.
20 years, and all they got was what, hunters? One time? That's it?
Like
Okay, maybe they might have skipped through a couple of them, but
yeah,
like
you could say benefit of the doubt.
benefit of the doubt, but
It had
still,
more,
like,
but they didn't show it. But
why would you focus in a zombie show on an episode about love when I want to see Joel and Ellie?
matter of fact, there's only 2 zombies this episode: the one that Ellie killed and the one that hit his trap.
Literally.
And I'm not mad.
And
like,
4 hunters that you just saw get murked by
And if-
flamethrowers.
I'm not okay. Say you don't do zombies and you show raiders. They didn't even do the raiders good.
They did even do the hunters good, yeah. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I was disappointed in this.
You know what I'm
episode
comparing this
because
show
they
to?
killed Bill and
I'm comparing this season 1 to season 1 of The Walking Dead, and season 1 of The Walking Dead
no.
is amazing
And you want to know why season 1 of The Walking Dead is
because
amazing?
there are so many damn zombies.
Not just that. They go page for page. I'm not saying word for word, but they go page for page, scene for scene, almost word for word, exactly from the comic. Almost. Like season 1 through 3
And why
is
would
damn
you do
near
that?
comic for comic.
And why would you do that? Because people are in love with the comic. So in order to make them in love with the show, you copy the comic. What made The Last of Us so good? I don't know. If I'm going to make a show about it, in order to make it good, I'm going to copy The Last of Us. And what's crazy is being done by the same person who made The Last of Us, and he's switching it. Why are you switching it?
Yeah, it's like
You know what you did right, and you're not doing it.
literally.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
I'm gonna be honest.
It was a cool episode. It was wholesome.
It was a cool episode if
But
it
it-
wasn't Last of Us, in my opinion.
It was a good episode if it wasn't Last of Us. That's what I was gonna say. It was wholesome. It was a good episode, but it wasn't Last of Us.
And that's what was really making me just like not be totally mad watching it. I was like, oh, this isn't a bad episode. It's like I was looking at it outside of Last of Us when I was watching it.
Yeah, that's how. And I was kind of enjoying it, but like now that I'm out here in a perspective of not watching it directly, I'm realizing how much they decided to skip just
that
to
was
focus.
amazing.
Just to focus on a love story. It's not like they skipped. Oh, they just killed a bunch of zombies and got a battery.
No,
They
there was
skipped
a lot.
Peak plot, bro. Like peak. It was a peak arc in the game. Like it was
Yeah.
one of the best, memorable, amazing part of the game. It's the part of the game that
Bill is a big ass part of the game. He's a solid 2-hour part of the game. That's amazing.
amazing, bro.
Like I'm okay. Him hanging upside
That's
down.
the
would've
part of
been-
the game that gets you extremely hooked, and you
Yeah.
don't want to put the controller down.
The whole okay, they
And they
skipped
decided to spend the part of the game that gets you extremely
only
hooked on a love
love
story.
And okay, they skipped the little upside down thing that introduces Bill. I forgot about that, and that's a bad thing. But like, the school, in my opinion, was a necessary asset to the show that would have made it so much better.
The whole episode would have been better if they just followed the game.
Yeah, you were saying stop. Like when we were watching it, you've changed mindsets now that you thought about it. But when we were watching it, you're like, be open, don't think about it like the game.
That's what I'm trying to watch the show without comparing
But I
it to
can't
the game.
when they do it.
When I'm
wrong.
watching it, I'm not comparing it to the game. But now that I'm coming out of it, I'm realizing what parts of the game they decided to skip, and they decided to skip the parts of the game that got me hooked to the game, that made the game hold a special place in my heart, that initiated that feeling. It's like, oh, this game's awesome. I love this shit. I can't wait to get to the next part. I can wait to get to the next part if it's going to be that bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't want to see
like
more
I
of that.
said before the episode even came out, I was talking to Sad, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really that excited for this episode. Like I was excited.
Well, you
for
kind
to
of got like a
watch
leak
it.
somehow. I don't know how you got.
It wasn't a
information.
leak. It was literally they dropped a trailer about the episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you just kind of.
So it wasn't really spoiler. It was just about no, and it wasn't anything. It was literally just saying, oh, this is gonna be a backstory on Bill. Like this is gonna be how Bill started from day breakout to where he is now. And I was like, oh, that could be fire. It wasn't. It wasn't.
It was good until
It wasn't
Frank
fire.
pulled
It
up.
was. It wasn't fire. It was okay.
It was good until Frank.
It was
pulled up.
amazing till Frank came out. Him going to the city getting stuff. I was like, oh,
Getting stuff. He was kind of doing his own
he was
about thing.
fire.
It was very satisfying to see the perspective of a doomsday survivor kind of doing his thing.
But it's just the amount of
And then when Frank pulled up, I don't have nothing against the whole love part. It's just it was too focused on.
I was way too focused on.
It's like the show is not about
just-
Bill.
I'm so mad at the potential they skipped.
That's what I'm upset about.
And I
mainly.
said this
I'm just
last
upset
episode
the
about
potential they
the
skipped.
two brothers. I was like, what did they skip in the second episode that I was mad about that they didn't do? Oh, it was the first episode when they were exiting the area and there was the 4 dudes that they had to fight when they get caught and they were hiding from the lights. That's what I was mad they skipped. And I said, what if they skipped the part where you're with the 2 brothers and you get split up and Joel's with the brother and the older brothers with Ellie? And I was like, you were like, let's wait.
What are they gonna skip?
And I
there?
said, you said, oh, let's maybe not. And I was like, but what if they skip it? And this proves to me that they're skipping big stuff by this episode. I was like, okay, that's a big part. Maybe they won't skip that since that's a pretty cool part and it's big. This was one of the cooler parts and bigger parts than the brothers, and they skipped.
Very.
So now this makes me think they're not, because
and I don't know why
they're not
going to
do that.
I can't
brother
figure
part.
out why. I don't know why. I can't think of a good reason to not have the part of the game replaced by that love story. I can't. Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed. Very disappointed. I'm mad. Every episode that comes out is making me less and less excited for next Sunday.
Yeah, but I mean, they showed a little after show, and it looked like, all right, things are finally gonna start to pick up, which should have been this episode. This episode should have been things are gonna about to start to pick up, because that's where they started picking up in the game. No, they focused the entire episode on a love story that just calmed everything down when things
And
were
had no
supposed to
relevance to the show.
had no relevance to the show.
Okay, so let's move past
It
that.
also had no relevance to the world either. It's
Literally.
not like it got you kind of more in tuned with the reality of the world. It just got you more in tuned with the character development of Bill, which ends at the end of the episode.
Another thing that we skip past, because like I said with that kissing part, or no, the hive part, we could talk about that for days. We could talk about this for hours on how they skipped
Yeah.
that. So let's move past that. Let's backtrack between the episode. Is they talked about, Ellie's like, oh, I thought it came from monkeys. And Joel talks about, because before the episode, I was going to say something, and I was like,
That's kind of where it confirms that it's from
I was
Brett.
I was gonna say, I was like, what a coincidence that there's no way that everything just went down at the exact same time. Everybody turned, but then he
He
explained
was
it
explaining it, and it made a lot.
yeah,
of
it
sense.
made a lot of sense. He was like, oh, all the things, the bread goes out by Thursday, they eat it by Friday, they get sick by Saturday, Sunday, and it goes down by Monday.
It made
He
me less
explained it
upset
great.
of the spread of the disease.
Yeah, so when he explained it, I was like, I was going to ask the question as they were walking, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, there's no way everybody got sick at the exact same
It
time.
makes sense now.
But they explained it because, like you said, bro, everybody's
It
eating pancakes,
yeah.
cookies, bread, rice, anything. Why'd I say rice?
And the infected wheat just got spread throughout the world.
Yeah, so it made sense. I don't mind how now everything happened at the same time. But now fast forward. After that, Joel and Ellie finally get to Bill's town, and it's all run down, and the plant is dead. And they knock on Bill's door. They walk in, and then there's nobody.
Yeah, there's nobody. There's a note.
Bill, that's all that happens. And then he knocks on the door. It's locked. He's like, damn. He walks back to Ellie, and Ellie's reading a note. Ellie reads that note out loud, and it's a suicide note from Bill.
Instead of a suicide note from Frank to Bill.
And that,
which was a cool twist.
And then when that happened, I was like, oh, so wait. Me and him were like, oh, Bill's actually dead. And we noticed that when we saw rotten rabbit on the...
Rotten fruit, because I knew Bill would have just cleaned that up.
Yeah. Like, when I saw the dead plant, I was like... When I saw the dead plant, I looked at it as like, damn, Bill's depressed. He like, Frank was the one that did the plants, and I was like...
It made sense.
Bill's getting depressed, but
in
no,
the show,
he's just dead.
In the show, it did kind of make sense that Bill decided to kill himself because he got the opportunity to know that Frank wanted to kill himself. In the game, he didn't know that Frank wanted to kill himself. He just found out after Frank already did it. So I feel like if he found out that Frank wanted to kill himself, Bill, even in the game, would have been like, all right, if you're going to kill yourself, I'm going to do it with you because I don't want to live without you. But he didn't really have the opportunity in the show. But I still would have rather had Bill stay alive.
Yeah, so then Bill gives him a note. He says, use the stuff and weapons to protect Tess. And then Ellie says...
That was tough.
That was tough. And then Ellie says... and Joe say, I don't want to hear you say I'm sorry. And she was like...
And he finally brings up the line
like,
that I wanted.
I wasn't going to say that. And he's like, wow. And then he's like, you don't talk about Tess like you were about to say exactly from
line for line from the game. And I was like, oh, this is where they put it.
This is where they put it,
all the way back there.
And then I was like, oh...
Which is the train station part.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed it, and it was like a little weird, but Ellie instantly said, what you say is what goes, right? But in the game, Ellie stopped for like 3 seconds because Ellie was pissed. Tess just died. And then after that, it was kind of silent. Like they were mad at each other. It was more
heated, yeah.
Yeah, but in this game, she's like, yes, I understand. What you say goes. Oh, yeah, let's do this. Like she was instantly flowers and daytime and cupcake. Like, bro.
She was more
there was no like
spicy about it.
Yeah, there was no like mad at each other. It was just like done and said. And then he said, "Oh, the same password to the gate is the bunker." They go in the bunker.
That was fine. That wasn't really a complaint for me.
They get the loot, and then you open the trunk, like I said before, and there's no battery. So I was like, "Oh, they're fun to do the school, but without Bill, this could be good."
They did Bill right though. Bill was done good.
No, he was done good until Frank.
No, he was still good as.
No, he was good until they did the time skip when they got old.
No, he was still good. Bill was Bill throughout the entire part. It's just the plot was different from the plot in the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bill in the game would have done the same things that Bill did in the show. It's just Frank didn't run away and go and kill himself. Frank instead got cancer. It was just too.
In my opinion, I think Bill's definitely way older in the show than he was in the game. Because in the game he was slouched, he was
he looked
limping. He was a lot older because they were gonna kill him. If they didn't kill him, he would have stayed somewhat young, but he was gonna die. So, after that they get into the car, they play music, and they just move on. That's the end of the episode.
It was cool the way they played the music that started the love between Frank and Bill.
And I didn't mind that. And it was also cool. Like the same thing because
it's like, oh wow, they kind of like
because in the show
it was cool.
In the game, Ellie also puts in a tape, and Joel's like, oh, don't skip it, and he fucks with it. So they did some similarities that I fucked with.
But I guess that was basically the end of the episode. So we can kind of push towards our
we can wrap it up.
Wrap our final verdict of the episode, how we feel about it. Now, it's kind of hard to rate it because
I know
objectively,
exactly what I'm gonna rate it.
Without being able to compare it to the game, it was a good episode.
Without it being Last of Us, it was a good episode.
Without it being Last of Us,
I'm gonna give it 3 perspectives. Without it being Last of Us, a good episode.
It was a pretty good episode.
With it being Last of Us,
deep and it was done right.
Yeah, if it wasn't Last of Us,
there was no like bad parts of the episode. It was a good episode.
That's without it being Last of Us. Now it being Last of Us, but not compared to the game, it was still a good episode.
I would put it in decent because then it was kind of okay if it's Last of Us, but we're not comparing it to the game. is still way too heavily focused on characters
And
that
it's
aren't the
soft.
main, and is way too not grim, and is way too not focused on zombies and surviving. And I mean, it was focused on surviving, but it wasn't focused on zombies and
Or people.
people.
And then third is it being Last of Us, and compared to the game is trash.
It was
to me.
trash, garbage. Only
Yeah.
because what they decided to not put in it from what was in the game was amazing.
Amazing, big art.
They chose
that they needed.
amazing parts not to put in the show.
Literally.
Imagine the part of the show of seeing Joel get freaking swiped up by a damn trap hanging up. So he's like, "Oh shit,
Them going.
Ellie, get me down!" And then the zombies heard the clanking of the whole refrigerator that picked them up, and then you just see zombies coming. And then Joel's probably gonna be
Oh
like,
yeah, they were.
"Oh shit,
Yeah, and he was.
oh shit."
they
That
were
would have been crazy, bro.
The zombies were climbing over
That
the
would have been
fence, going
so
under
good.
it.
I feel like they skipped it because it's like, I can't even say money because I know how much money they had. More money to make
They
this
have
show
15.
than
They have a budget of 15 million.
you had the money to do that scene. You just didn't want to. I'm sorry, no excuses. Unless these next episodes are about to be extremely immaculately bussing.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna give my final rating. My opinion, episode 2 exceeds this episode by
episode two,
long
episode
shot.
2 was better.
Episode 2.
I got zombies.
Episode 2 was whack because of the hive and the kissing. This episode was just whack because of the potential it had, and they didn't do it, and
And
they
what they
dragged out the
skipped.
love.
And they dragged out as part of the show that wasn't relevant.
Needed.
Yeah.
So and we gave episode 2 a 6 out of 10
Yeah.
because of its reasons. What do you think this shit gonna be?
Damn,
Two.
I kind of want. Oh, yo, I kind of want to go back to episode 2 and bump it up after this shit.
Yeah.
I might have to go back and give episode 2 a 7
Yeah.
and give this joint a 6,
Nah,
a 5.
I gave it a 2. This shit's gonna.
There's no way you're giving it a 2, bro. It's not a 2.
It was a good episode. It's just
It wasn't Last of Us.
if I feel like if I sleep on it, I'll give it a higher rating. It's just because this was literally like 10 minutes after we watched it, or 5 minutes. But it's just like it was a good episode not being The Last of Us, or it was a good episode not being compared to Last of Us. But it's just the potential they had, and they didn't do it. Pisses me off so bad.
I feel like we're being too harsh in our ratings. I
Okay,
feel like our last rating was a little too harsh. I feel like 6 was bad.
That shit was trash.
That was
trash.
Episode 2 was underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. It was.
It's just because also episode 2 had potential that they skipped with the people. It's just the hive, the kissing. It was just
Yeah, it was kind of too much of a twist on what was the basis of
the game.
the game.
So I'm not gonna be. I want to give it a 2 full heartedly, but I'm gonna be.
I want to give this episode.
I'm gonna be
a
honest.
5.
I'm gonna give it a 5 also. Maybe even.
I want to give it a 6
I
because
wanna
it was a good
I want to
episode.
give it a 4.
I'm just mad because of what they skipped.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5, and that's it.
They skipped peak.
Last of Us. I mean, episode 2 could have been 7, but I'm gonna stick last episode.
This is why we need the
6.
homie Herbert here because
Yeah,
he'll be so objective about it, and he
'cause
won't have a show
he
to
hasn't
compare it
seen
to. I mean, the game to compare
We
it
have a
to.
week to get his ass to watch it and get him over here for real.
I'm gonna have to get his ass over here. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. So, final verdict. I'm a 5. You gave it. What are you giving it? I'm giving it a 5. I want to give it a 3, but I'm gonna give it a 5 because it was a good episode. Other than it being not Last of Us,
It was a good episode, but it was way too far off topic.
yeah,
Way too far
like
off
we were
topic.
complaining about it being not Last of Us at the wrong moments. This is the worst time it was not Last of Us.
It was just way too far off topic for me. It was a good episode. It was wholesome in a way, but even in the wholesomeness, it was unrealistic. And the what made Last of Us so great was how grim it was. And they're just like, no, we're not gonna go grim. What do you mean you're not gonna go grim? That's what the game
That's
is.
Last of Us.
Last of Us is grim, and Joel is menacing. 'Cause 5. Final verdict 5.
5. I want to give it a 3 still, but it was a good episode. It was, but it's just
way
it had
just way too far off topic,
way too far.
and way too much greatness that they skipped for something that is way too far off topic. It's a 5.
And like I said in episode 1, that they that if they skip that in episode 1, what are they gonna skip in the future?
I liked episode 1.
But now that they skipped this, that really brings me to the question I had in 1. What are they gonna skip in the future?
Yeah, because this was some peak. They
Like,
skipped some peak.
What
some
are
peakness.
I'm like another big arc. What happens after this? They go through the Raiders. Another huge arc with a third party was the brothers, or I don't know if it's Tommy or the brothers that are next, but the brothers are huge, and I need them to do that right. I need them to do that right.
They have a lot. They have a lot.
Sam and someone else. I don't remember.
Is the brothers next?
No, I don't remember because it's been a while since I played the game.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the brothers' names is
Kind of
Sam.
want to go and play the game just to.
That
But
remake.
Final verdict was a 5, so we're gonna call it a day.
Yeah.
We pretty much said everything we've needed to about the episode. Right now we're kind of just rambling, but I wonder what you guys think about it, because I feel like me and you are actually being harsh. I feel like we're being too critical, but maybe we're not being critical enough. Maybe you guys think differently. You guys probably hate it more, or you love it more and you think we're being haters.
Or maybe y'all agree with us.
Or maybe you're right with us with the 5. Put your ratings in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about the episode, because I'm curious. I'm curious what an outside type of perspective thinks about it, or if we're kind of too in line with our
Rating or view.
Yeah, kind of like our criticism. Because we're criticizing a lot. We're not really praising the episode too much.
We praised the episode for being it was a good
episode.
like I said, the praising
far
I
off
gave
topic.
it was good for not being Last of Us, and it was decent for being Last of Us, and it was bad for comparing it to the game.
Yeah.
It was a good episode. The love story was done well, but not for Last of
Yeah,
Us.
we're just repeating things we're saying now. So that was our final verdict. Was a 5. So please let me know what y'all think in the comment, because I really want to get some more perspective and point of view on this. And especially if you played the Last of Us games, you would kind of be with us on our opinions.
Hopefully you would, because
Yeah, and if you haven't played the Last of Us games, I would still very much be interested in how
in your
you feel.
opinion,
Because I feel like maybe, oh, that was a great episode because you didn't play the game. Maybe not playing the game lets you know, doesn't have you comparing it, and you don't know what you skipped out on.
Or another thing is, like, because of the game, we know who Frank is, and they're just getting a love story episode that they probably think is unnecessary.
But even without knowing the game and seeing the love story, wouldn't you still agree that the show is going way too far off topic and focusing way too much on a love story when the show is supposed to be about this grim, dark, apocalyptic world? About Joel and Ellie, and about Joel trying to get Ellie to the Fireflies to save
I have
her.
another thing.
It just has nothing to do with the story.
This episode is like a backstory / a different view on Bill and Frank, and it's a different view. And the backstory to Bill is because we know him from the games. You guys don't. Not you guys, because probably y'all a lot played the game, but those who haven't seen or played the game, this isn't a backstory to Bill. This is just Bill.
Yeah, and even if you're just watching it as a show, you already know who the main characters are, and then this random character comes out of nowhere, and he absorbs the whole episode. Aren't you upset about that? I don't know. I mean, to me, I kind of am. I think it was a bad decision to focus that much on Bill. So I think 5 out of 10 is fair.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. And hopefully for episode 3 episode 4 when that comes out, we need to get Herbert to watch it, and even if he can't come over, we need to get his opinion on this episode and talk about it a little bit in next episode on the third person.
All right, appreciate y'all for watching. Please leave y'all comments and y'all ratings in the comments below. I'd very much be interested in seeing what you guys think about it. Thank you guys for watching. Next episode will obviously be Monday if you edit this by Monday night. Yeah, sorry about the last episode. You know, we were kind of getting our momentum. We just started.
Yeah.
So.
This is probably an hour episode 2.
We kind of planned it after episode 2 came out to do the thing. So we were already behind, and now we're on schedule. So hopefully we can keep this up and keep it going as shows come out. And we're not only going to do Last of Us. Obviously, we got shows, games, cartoons, animes, whatever is relevant and popping. We're not going to watch everything. We're not everything watchers. I'm busy. I got college.
School.
You got high school. You know, we're busy. We can't just watch everything. But what we are going to watch, we're going to give our opinion on, and we're going to let y'all know about it and share our feelings on it. But aside from that, thank you guys for watching.
Yep. That's it. I need to go take a piss.
Okay. Again?